Animation has formed a part of advertising ever since the moving image first hit cinema screens in the early 20th century. Yet the relationship between the two industries runs deeper than surface level. We've come to the British Film Institute to find out how.
Very quickly, people producing adverts and animation realised this way of kind of bringing kind of magical elements to brands and stories, and bringing brand characters to life, and being able to get away with things through animated advertising. You could be much more hard sell, you could bring in fantastic elements, but you could pull it off in a way that you couldn't with live action.
As part of its Animated Britain season, the BFI has curated an archive of historic animated advertising. The earliest films in this collection come from the 1920s, when agencies specialising in the medium began to form. And the dominance of American talent in Hollywood's theatrical sector meant that the best British animators came looking for jobs in Adland.
You got companies that were set up whose sole goal was to make animated adverts, and they started to build relationships with agencies to take on the brand messages and support the other kinds of advertising that were going on. So that you would get an illustration of something that was popular in a poster advertising starting to come in and be brought to life in the cinema. And you have cinemas making more room for adverts.
The style at this time was simple and silent, and the spots often advertised local businesses. Ads such as Your Shopping Guide from 1930 acted as a widely distributed template that each cinema could personalise with brand names and copy relevant to its audience. It was only in the late 1930s that brands began creating their own shorts to complement the entertainment programme, seeking out high production values to match the rise of glorious Technicolor. And then in 1955, everything changed with the arrival of television.
Because you only had to make 7, 15, 30 seconds of animation, and it could only be in black and white, and the details were much smaller because it was a small television screen, it was much easier to make an animated advert. You didn't need the same kind of number of people, you didn't need the same equipment, so you get this kind of atomization of the production companies. Anybody who had a talent could go off and set up on their own, and that's when you get people like Bob Godfrey, George Dunning coming across from Canada. It changed both industries and cemented the bond between them.
The decade following the launch of commercial TV is widely considered to be the golden age of animated advertising, before the industry briefly fell out of love with the medium in the 1960s. Surprisingly, it was thanks to John, Paul, George and Ringo that the relationship was revived.
You have Yellow Submarine happening in 1968, and a kind of a change in the look of animation and a re-embracing of what it could be. And you also have colour television and what was high definition coming out in 1969. Suddenly you could have colour and you could have more detail. Through the 70s and 80s, this kind of growth in quality went on, in that you have a film like Ovaltine Train. It's a tiny little short advert bringing together a kind of computer graphics and styling, computer animation with traditional sort of drawn animation. Just the level of detail and style and backgrounds. It's a real testimony to the quality that was being produced there.
Nowadays, the ad industry may favour CGI over stop motion or illustration, but the characters that only animation can produce are still alive and well, and living in a realm that's bigger than a 30-second spot.
One of the other interesting things is the way sort of turning into sort of branded entertainment, and the longer sort of material that you can get online, sort of things that are virally spread. Animation still has this kind of hook. Just the look of it was something that can catch your eye in a way that other kinds of sort of pop-up adverts and things like that don't. So I think advertisers continue to use animation to sort of hook, find a different voice, and that's something that you can find throughout the history. You look back and sort of finding using animation as a way to tell a slightly different story, or tell a brand message in a different way, a more direct way, a more oblique way. Animation has these different hooks of kind of opening it out.